I've got all those pieces cut out already. Okay, so, thank you very much for pointing out there's no sound. Alright, so if this is on YouTube, this is where I'm starting the YouTube. I apologize because I just spent 38 minutes of my stream with no sound. So I will make sure everything that I did for these first 38 minutes, I will step by step point out for the next piece. So I'm going to start out by saying I'm working on the horror quilt today. I'm going to do all the basics first. So, Bat Jinx followed me at the end of my stream yesterday, so I didn't get to say thank you. Thank you. I appreciate the follow. Love ya. Yeah, nope, wasn't you. Thank you again. So today I am working on the Villains Commission quilt. It is it's a quilt for a commission, obviously. They wanted a, just kind of like a quilt with all their favorite horror villains in it. So this is what we did. Nicole designed it, and she designed it kind of like as a Brady Bunch, kind of, looking up, looking over, all that other type quilt. And the best thing that I love about this quilt is that it is broken up into 4 blocks, so that I'm actually going to make 4 mini quilts and then sew them together using sashing for one big quilt. So that's how I'm doing it. So the first one that I'm doing is Michael. So that's what I'm working on right now. I've already cut out all of the solid pieces. I'm combining all the 2-inch strips right now so I can cut out all of the combined pieces. So Michael's over. Oh, nope, it's got to be here because I'm doing my 2-inch. So that's where I'm doing from here. In the first part, I show traditional rotary cutting versus the easy, super fast stripology way. I'll redo all that. Whenever I start on the next block's going to be Freddy. So when I do the next block, I will redo all of that. I will do all the tutorials step by step. So because there was no sound, I want to make sure you get that. Now, that was not the first time that I've started a stream with no sound, so you think that I would know better, and you would think that I would look up to make sure that that little green bar is moving as I'm talking. You would think. You would think. Okay, so black. Now, theoretically, these are both Moda marbles. They should be the same length. They're the same length. So it does not make a difference which one you put on top when you sew it. You have to make, the reason why I check the length is whenever you're sewing, Michael, Freddy, Jason, and Leatherface. That one's supposed to be Leatherface. Yeah, and of course I've got the little picture there too. Whenever you're sewing strips together, if they're not the same length, you always want to put the shorter one on top. Because as you're sewing strips, the machine is actually stretching out that top fabric just a little bit. Not enough to be noticeable, but if you put your shorter strip on top, it will definitely, you'll get like a little bit more out of it. Okay, this has only had 1 white and, oh, I know it won't be the last time that I have no sound. You think I would learn my lesson? You think? Although I can say it has been like a month and a half since I've done it. So at least it's been a while. I must have unplugged the USB and then plugged it back in again or bumped it or something, because it resets my mic and it doesn't realize where I want to do with it. So yeah, so putting the shorter strip on top, you get a little bit more out of it. So measure the strips, put the shorter one on top. Now, the way that I put my strips in, I'll show you in a moment. There we go. I've done the yellow and black. Now I need to do a half yellow and half brown. So, I don't need the entire yellow strip, so I'm going to cut it in half. There's only about half of my patterns that I have you do this, cut strips in half. And the reason why is it actually saves you a little bit of money with fabric. Why combine a whole strip if you just need 1 or 2 pieces of those combined fabrics? Yeah. Yeah. Murphy's Law. I know. All right, so let's measure these. Same length. All right, so taking your two strips, whenever you're combining strips together, you want to, if you're chaining like I do, you want to make sure your needle is in the down position. Lift up your presser foot and take your two fabrics, put it right up against that needle, and make sure it's against that guide. So I'm using a 1/4 inch, oh, I'm sure there's going to be major things go wrong. I'm not, yeah, oh, I'm sure there's going to be other things going wrong in the future. I'm using a 1/4 inch pressing foot with a guide. That means there's a piece of metal on my right hand side that my fabric's going to touch right up against. As long as it's touching that metal, I have a perfect 1/4 inch seam. I don't have to look at any guides. I don't have to measure. I don't have to do any of that stuff. Just make sure it's touching that piece of metal. So my fabric is against the needle and it's against the piece of metal. I'm then going to do one of these things. So I'm taking my pointer finger and I'm putting it between my fabric. I'm putting the rest of these fingers underneath and my thumb on top. And what this is going to allow me to do is to move the fabric back and forth and make sure it's lined up perfectly as it touches that piece of metal. And then that way, as I'm sewing, I don't have to constantly start and stop just to make sure that my fabric is lined up as it's going in. And that's a good technique if you're sewing strips. And then that way I don't have to use any pins. I don't have to pin it before, pin it after. Just throw the fabric in there and sew it. Twitch channel when a young lady made an error so bad she was up. Oh, that stinks. If you make an error that big that if you're off, then yeah. Oh, yeah. All right, so there's my black and yellow. And next, brown and black, half. So I already have my half piece of brown. Let me cut a black in half. I couldn't imagine making a thing that big. Rated a person the other day, and the bot started to ban people. Oh my gosh. You know what? Okay, I was thinking about this last night. So yesterday was the first time I've ever been rated. Ever. And I was like so, like seriously, Imperial Girl just like made my day. I was so happy and so elated. I was just like the entire day. Like, oh my God. You can ask my husband. He had ball last night. That's all I talked about was Imperial Girl and the raid. And I was thinking, the more I thought about it, I'm like, you know what? If I didn't watch Imperial Girl, if I didn't like tune into her channel and watch as she rated other people, I don't think I would have known what was going on. And I was talking to my husband and I said, okay, everyone that I've been watching with you, this is the reason why I started, because I've been watching other streamers. Josh, a bunch of other people. I've never seen a raid before, ever, before I started watching Imperial Girl. And my husband's like, oh yeah, a bunch of the smaller streamers, and especially creative people, do raids all the time. And I'm like, if I didn't watch Imperial Girl and know what a raid was, I don't think I would have, I don't know how I would have reacted yesterday. I wouldn't have known what was going on. So I could totally see banning people because of all the spam, if you didn't understand what was going on. Oh my God. So she said she was ending it. Oh my gosh, that poor thing. You know what? And if she immediately didn't go back and delete that video from your video history, okay, I've done mistakes where my cat streamed. My cat streamed for me a week and a half ago. Seriously. So I have short keys set up to my computer, and apparently my cat went by and hit one of those short keys because I had my stream up and ready to go. No, I apologize. I didn't even have it up. She opened up OBS somehow and hit stream. Luckily, I end my streams with the thanks for watching, please subscribe for more content, and then it has the end card where I can just pop that right up on YouTube and have extra videos that'll pop up. So, yes, that's what I'm talking about, Two Wolf. And I didn't know until 2 hours later that my cat was streaming. So luckily, I mute my microphone and I put that up at the end of my stream. So that's all you saw for 2 hours. I was talking to my husband. I was like, if that would have happened, like, maybe 2 months ago, before I did all of this graphic design stuff, before I started doing all these things. I just said, hi, goodbye, and stopped it. Imagine what you would have seen for 2 hours. I was doing computer work all day, but I don't know if I, like, scratched at my nose or picked my butt or did who knows? So, no, and I don't stream from my bedroom. Oh my god, I couldn't imagine stopping the stream and changing, and oh my, yeah. I would be devastated. And then, of course, you're breaking Twitch's terms of service because you're showing nudity. So, yeah, so either she left because she was so embarrassed or left because of Twitch. And, oh, I couldn't imagine that. Okay, so in this case, where I cut it, the black is actually a little shorter than the brown. So the black's going to go on top for the strip. Oh, I could not imagine that. That poor woman. Yeah, imagine! And I couldn't believe it. So when I realized that's what happened, I went into my videos and deleted that video. But I don't want people looking at that and having 2 hours of the thanks for watching. Pointing at my cat. And she's just over there sleeping. Ignorant. I think my iron camera is crooked. Yes, it is. There we go. That's better. That's a little better. Okay, let me do this one. Oh, I couldn't believe that. I would be so embarrassed if that happened to me. Oh, okay, brown. Okay, yellow and brown. Okay, that's where I was. Yellow, brown. Brown, black. Now I need 1.5 blue, black. Okay, so this is extra. Yep. And I'm going to set this aside for another block because I'm going to use the yellow because the yellow's background for all of them. And let's cut a blue in half. So my cat loves to walk on my keyboard. Oh! You know how many times I have learned to lock my computer, completely shut it down and lock it, because I would come back to my computer and my screen would be like upside down. Because she hits the short keys for flipping the thing all the way upside down. Cats. And I told my husband, I've had cats my entire life, but I would be totally okay if we didn't have any cats. As much as I love her, I would totally be okay if we didn't have any cats. So he goes, okay, yep, I'm highly allergic to them. That's totally okay with me. No cats. And then in the middle of a snowstorm one year, she decides to come to our house and be our cat. Spent months looking for her owners. Couldn't find them. So I said, okay, let's find her a good home. And my husband went, we have a good home? And by then Jordan loved her. So I went, okay, I guess we have a cat now. She's a good cat. Pain, but she's a good cat. Oh, that's right, Britmerk. So, Tulip, I don't know if you saw the other day, Britmerk, a kitten adopted him. He just, yeah. So the kitten was in a little box and just like shows up. So, yeah. So Britmerk has a cat now. Kittens are the best. They're so curious. They go everywhere. But then they grow into cats. Just wait. No, you're absolutely right. Cats pick you. You can't pick a cat. The cat picks you. I'll never forget my mother, years and years and years ago. We had cats, like I said, my entire life. And at that point, I had moved out and took all my cats with me. And my mom really wanted a cat because there was no cats left. So she went to... feed it. Yep, spoiling her. So my mom went to this breeder because she really wanted a Siamese. And there's a breeder that had flame point Siamese cats. And my mom went there, and she's playing with all the kittens, and there's this one cat that kept coming over to her and shoving her entire body in my mom's face and just like clawing at my mother. And my mom's like, what do you want, cat? What the... And would pick the kitten up, and it's like, okay, I'm seeing all the cats, and this cat would just come and, like, claw at her, and, like it would hurt. So, she has her back with her paws in the air. Oh my gosh, that's so amazing. So, finally, at the end, my mom's like, okay, so I guess this one cat really, really, really wants me. So, okay, I guess I'm taking this cat. And as she got older and became a cat, she hated everyone. That cat hated me. That cat hated everyone except for my mother. She loved my mother so much. Oh, my mom still misses her to this day. She just was like worshipped my mother. Everything was all about my mother. So cats do definitely pick you. Oh, there it is. I'm like, where did I put my little thing? So Alfred, I can't show you a picture on my phone. Here, let me post this picture in here. Let me see if I can pop it in chat. I don't think I can. All right, I took a picture of him this morning. It was the cutest stinking thing. This is one of my dogs. Okay, so. No, I can't put it in there. Dang it. Okay, so, hi. Was I talking about you until you came out? It may be a little... Let me see if I can... Yeah, it's not gonna... Oh, yeah, you can just see a little bit. So he's wrapped up in his blanket, in his bed, with his little head popped out. Come here, baby. He heard his name, so he just came out. She's a hugger, too, so she goes to sleep on me. Well, oh, that's so cute. Hi. I know. See, and they're smart, too. When they realize I start talking to myself, they know something's going on, and so they come to me for treats. Is that what you want? You make a good boy. Come here. Say hi. Yeah, so you're a cuddler, aren't you? You're my big cuddler. Thank you. But you know I'm doing piecing, so you're going to get hair on me, and I got to clean it off because I can't have it in the quilt. No. All right, so I'll give you a treat, and that's it for now. All right, go back to your bed. Go back to your bed. There you go. Oh, there's Soleil. All right, come here. Up. You say hi to the camera. And here's Soleil. Say hi. Yes, there we go. I know. You're a good girl. All right, there you go. All right, go. Oh, animals. Yeah, I make sure, because my quilts are going to people that I don't really know if they have any allergies, I always play it safe. So if I am piecing something and I touch an animal, I make sure all hair comes off of me. All right, so we've got that. All right, I'm going to put a piece of scrap fabric in because I am done combining my strips. All right, and let's sew some things. So I've got all of my things over here. Let's put all of this over to the right. All right, let's do the black and whites first. So I want to make sure first I cut all of these combined strips in half. Even the ones that are half strips, I can cut in half. So let's line that up and let's cut it in half. If you have more than one strip, make sure you cut it in half with the same fabric on top. So in this case, I've got black fabric on top. So I'm cutting it in half. For both of those. Here we go. And now I'm going to do some nesting piecing. So in this case, I'm going to make sure that I iron them towards different directions. So she goes to sleep on me. We'll hug oh my gosh, that's so cute. So in this case, I am ironing towards the black. I find it's easier if my cut, where I cut it in half, is on the left-hand side. So that one's ironed, the seam is ironed towards the black. This one, the seam is getting ironed towards the white. So I'm just kind of pressing it a little bit and then doing a full-on iron. Here we go. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to flip it over so that both the right sides are facing each other. So in this case, I've got my seam going down towards my white. So your black is lined up with the black and your white is lined up with the white. And now I'm going to press that seam in to make sure that those two seams that are now pointed in opposite directions are really kind of nested in there nice. So they're almost locked. And that's what nesting means, is that you're almost locking those seams together. Okay, and then let's line up the top. All right. Now, I'm taking my Stripology ruler, and I'll do a full tutorial again when I start the next block. I apologize, no sound. So I've got my Stripology ruler. I'm going to line up one of these lines along the middle. So it's nice and straight. There we go. And then I'm going to cut off the end. Now, my black and white, I need 12 3.5s. So I have 2 layers that are locked in together. So I'm cutting 2 layers of fabric. So every time I cut, that's 2. 4, and I need 12, right? 6, 8, 12. So let's take away that. 3.5. All right, making sure. So there's 2, 4, 6, 8. That's what I thought. I'm like, that didn't sound right. 10. And I'm going to start the 16, 12. I'm like, 12 should be the whole strip. All right. So what I've done is I've separated them. So in this hand, the seams are pointing towards the black. In this hand, the seams are pointing towards the white. And then that way, as I grab my pieces for laying them out, I can grab it for which way I want the seams to point. Inside my field jacket. Oh, see, having a new puppy or kitten is just, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Animals bring so much joy into your life. Like, I can't help but smile every time one of my animals just comes over and just is like, pick me up, I want love. And I'm doing the same thing for this. So I ironed one seam towards the black, and then the other seam towards the white. And let's nest that in there nicely. That's nice and nested. There we go. There we are. Let's cut off the end. Now, it's very important that you cut off the end. There's no salvage, but you have to square it up. Because if you don't, then you're going to have a really jagged edge on there, and it's not a good measurement. So I need 4 2 inches. So there's 2, 4. Now, I am going to use black and white for other blocks, so I'm going to set that aside. And like I said, I'm going to call these blocks, even though they're all part of a quilt, I'm going to call them 4 blocks. All right. Next is the white and brown. Oops. I tossed those there, not in the trash. So we're going to cut this in half. And same thing. So I'm ironing towards the brown. And I'm ironing towards the white. Oh, if you guys didn't notice at the top, I did decide for the next giveaway, I'm going to give away a quilt kit. So my quilt kits, I do the first step for you. So it's basically the fabric. So let's say if you like the fabric that I use for my Amazon Warrior quilt, and you love that fabric, which is all Moda marbles, I use that exact fabric in my kits, and I do the first step. I cut all the 3.5 and the 2-inch strips for you. So the next giveaway is going to be for one of those kits. All right, so brown and white. I need 2 3.5 inch. So just the one cut, and that's it. Now, I did a whole strip and not a half, so that tells me I probably have brown and white for another one. Yep, and I do. So I'm going to take this and set it aside for a future block. And because there's only 2 of them, I'm just going to stack them on top of each other. Make it easy. Next is yellow and black. Oh, the second one. Do you still have the first one, or is did they pass and then now you have another one? Okay, so yellow and black. I need 4 3.5s and 2 2s. So 2, 4, and the 2. And I know I'm going to need yellow and black because yellow is my background. So I'm going to set that one aside. Okay, oh, nope, I don't want to do that one yet. Yellow and brown. Now, the yellow and brown, remember, is a half strip. Still cutting this in half. Still going to cut it in half. Because I want seams pointing in different directions, so I have options whenever I lay my quilt out. So, that one's towards the brown. That one's towards the yellow. Yeah, and I like how you put rescue in quotations. Because you really didn't go to a rescue. But they adopted you. Alright, for yellow and brown, I need 2 2-inches. So, just like that, that one's done. I don't think I need yellow and brown for any others. Nope. So, this is going in my scrap pile. Alright, and now brown and black, same thing. Cutting it in half. Towards the brown. Towards the black. Now, I don't know if I mentioned this or not. As I'm lining this up, I'm actually lining it up along my seam. So along my thread. I'm not doing it along the top or the bottom, right in the middle. And what that does is it makes sure that it's a nice even cut, no matter if any of the fabric has stretched whenever I ironed it. So it's nice and even. So black and brown, I need 2 3.5s and 2 2s. So 2 3.5, and then I'll cut it at 5.5 for the 2s. Okay, and I don't believe I have any other browns and blacks. Oh, no, I do. I do, in Leatherface. So I'm going to save that. Okay, and then now, the last but not least, the blue and black. Now, this one's a little different because I have a full strip and I have a half strip. So all I'm going to do is make sure that they are folded and cut in half in the same way, which is with the black on top. And that is the only difference. And then I'll do the full strip first, and then I'll do the half. So I'll lay the full strip on top of the half. Oh, you know what? And that's what happens sometimes. I actually had a girlfriend of mine just lost her dog. She's had the dog for 14 years. Amber was 14 years old. And I remember, because we were friends whenever she got Amber. So I remember whenever she first got the puppy, it was right after another one of her dogs passed away. And whenever she had a couple of kids, and then she went through a divorce, and she moved someplace that she couldn't bring Amber. So she had to give Amber to her grandmother to take care of her, during that short period of time. Well, whenever she finally moved to a place where she could have a dog, she went to go take Amber back, and Amber was so happy and content and loved being with her grandmother. She just couldn't bear taking her back from for her grandmother, so she basically stayed with her. So I completely understand that of like, oh, I want my cat back. I miss my cat, but I can't take it from where it is because it's happy, and yeah. Yep, and that's something where if they are happy keeping the cat and the cat is happy there, you really can't take the cat. That stinks. But of course, cat is happy. And now you have another cat. No, because I was going to ask if you still had the cat, how they were getting along. But you don't have to worry about that. Alright, so brown and black. I need 5 3.5s and 12 2s. So I'm going to cut 6 because remember I'm cutting them in 2s. So there's 2, 4, 6. And then I'm going to cut a bunch of 2s. I need 12. So there's 2. Dang it, I just cut a single 1 inch. Alright, I'm going to start in the 10. That's okay, that's why I got another half. So, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Let's make sure there's no... Nope, that's good. Alright, so I'm splitting these, remember, into the 2 different piles. 2, 4, 6. I'm just double checking. Now, even though I only need 5 3.5s, I'm going to keep that 6th one there because I don't know which way that seam's going to go. So, I may need the option of having the additional seam. And then 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and then my 12th is in here. Yesterday's stream was fun. I love doing giveaways. I love, love, love giving things away. It is a lot of fun. Oh, I just realized I forgot to invoice the person for the weighted blanket quilt. I've got to make sure that I do that today. So, I can't announce anything yet. But there is a strong possibility that I am going to TwitchCon. But nothing announced yet. It's not set in stone yet. But there's a strong possibility. Okay, and I just need 2 more of this. There we go. Now, I do not have any more blue in this quilt at all. The only blue I have, as you see, is with Michael. So this is going in my scraps. Now, what do you do with all those scraps, Tony? Like, I literally have a whole big laundry thing full of them. 2 things. Number 1, if you support my Patreon and you choose the option, you can get a pound of my scraps every single month. Number 2, if I teach a class and you come to one of my classes, I leave my scraps out. You can go through all my scraps and pull out what you want to play with. So I do lots of things with my scraps. Okay, all my pieces are cut out so I can put away my lovely Stripology ruler. I can put away that and that. No more rotary cutter, nothing. Alright, now I need... Did I put them down here with my Pac-Man? I think I did. Where are my scrap pieces of paper? Oh, you know what? I had them with my Tetris. Because I did Tetris after Pac-Man. Where did my Tetris pattern go? Tetris pattern. No, not there. I thought I put you down here. Why are you not here? Well, I might just have to cut some new scraps of paper. It's not like it's anything complicated, it's just a scrap of paper. No, it's not over there. Alright, let me go get a scrap of paper. In fact, I'm going to do one of these just in case. Oops. Someone pops on the stream and I'm not in the camera angle. Because it'll just take me a moment to run upstairs and grab paper. Alright, I have my paper. And let's take that off. Fantastic. So, I need some way to keep an eye on where I am in the pattern. So all I do is cut 2 strips. So I have a start and an end. And yes, those are my paper scissors, not my fabric scissors. There we go. Alright, let me lay everything out. Now, the trick right now is to lay it all out in a way that I can easily grab it when I need it. So, blue is the most dominant. So, I want to put my blue here first. Okay, and then the black and white. And then yellow, because yellow is the background. And then black. There's the brown and yellow. Oh, can't forget the blue. Now, if there's a lot of the pieces, I'll separate out those 2 inches from the 3.5 inches. If I don't have a lot, so for example, the yellow and blacks, I only have a single 2 inch and I have a bunch of 3.5s. So just a single 2 inches sitting on top of 3.5 for space. There's those. And then that. Great. Alright, let me lay everything out. So I've got that bottom. Now, on this one, I have 11 rows. So I'm going to lay out 6 rows, and then I'll lay out 5 rows. And then it'll happen. First row is actually a little teeny tiny row, because if you look at the bottom right pattern, that's the one I'm working on for Michael. He actually has 21 rows all the way down. So if you take a look at the pixels, there's actually 21 pixels all the way down. One of these 3.5 inch pieces, so if you consider a 3.5 by 3.5, this is 4 pixels. Because this is 2 pixels, see, it's half of it, so that's 4 pixels. So I'm working 2 rows at a time, basically, when I lay out a single row, is the way to think about it. So because there's an odd number, I have a weird funky row of single pixels. So instead of working with 2 pixel rows, I'm working with a single pixel row. So in this case, my seams need to point to the right, because every row that I work with, seams are going to point in a different direction, and that allows me, whenever I assemble my rows together, to nest seams and make those points perfectly line up. So let me show you. The bottom, I need to go towards the black. Let's make sure, yep, I can do that. And then 1, 2, 3 2 inch pieces. So 1, 2, 3. Now I'm laying them on top of each other in pairs of 2s because I'm going to be pinning those together. So there's 2 of those now these are going towards the blue. And when I say towards, that means that's the way the seam is pointing. So in this case, the black and the blue, the seam is pointing towards the blue. And I need 1 more of those towards the blue. And then a black. And then a blue. So I should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, so my seams are pointing towards the right. They're pointing this way. So I'm going to pick up the piece that's on the right-hand side, flip it up over the left, and then pin on the right. So I'm going to put some pins in there. Because it's not like with the strips, I have to make sure that these seams line up nicely. So I'm taking the right, flipping it over the left, and then pinning it. Okay, so right over left, and then pinning the area on the right. Right over left, and on the right. Now, I have this lonely little piece out here that there's nothing to pin this to. So, I'm actually going to take this and just set it right there. Simple as that. All right, next row. In this row, seams are pointing to the left, and this is a normal row. This is the only weird row like this I have. All my other rows are going to be regular sized, where it's 2 pixels tall. So, to the left, I've got, so instead of putting these pieces this way, horizontal, I'm going to be putting them vertical. So I've got 1 of those. Now, this piece does not make a difference which way the seam points. So I grabbed from the pile that I had the most of, and in this case, the seam's pointing down towards the black. And then I need 1 of these. And then I need 1 of these. And again, I'm laying them out 2 pieces at a time because that's what I'm going to be pinning together. All right, this one seam needs to go towards the black. So this seam's going towards the black because my row, the arrow is pointing towards the left. And the next one doesn't make a difference, so I'm just going to pick this one. So the seam's going up towards the blue, so the next one seam needs to come down towards the black. So this way, the seam's towards the blue. This one's towards the black. Whenever I sew it together, those seams are going to nest in there nicely. And a piece of blue. And then, let's see, I've got 3 and 3. Doesn't make a difference, because the seam doesn't make a difference where it's pointing. And I get asked a lot, if I talk to myself whenever I'm laying pieces out like this, if I'm not streaming, yes. Yes, I do. Because I have a horrible, horrible habit of flipping pieces the wrong way and sewing them and not paying attention. So I talk to myself, your seam has to point this way, it has to go this, you have to do this, you have to do this, and it forces me to then do what I am saying. So feel free, talk to yourself. Sometimes I answer myself. It happens. And then here. Alright, so there, and I'm just double checking, making sure the pieces I laid out are all correct. Yep, there we are. Now in this case, I said seams are pointing to the left, so I'm picking up that piece on the left-hand side, flipping it up over the right, and then pinning it on the left. So I'm doing the exact opposite of what I did in that first row. Now in this case, I have a seam in the middle. Right here, these are 2 fabrics that were sewn together that I cut. So there's a seam right in the middle of this. So I'm actually going to put that pin in first. So that seam is going to go right there to hold that down. And then, now that it's nice and centered, I'm going to pin it on the left and the right. So left over right. And that is how you lay out and pin your rows. And with all of my quilt patterns, it is the same exact way. So no matter what quilt pattern you get from me, whether it's one of the existing ones now that are at the beginner level, or if you decide to pick up the Triforce that's coming out in October at the intermediate level, they're all the same. The only difference is the Triforce is going to have smaller pieces. So instead of 3.5 and 2 inch wide pieces, they're 2 inch and 1 1/4 wide. And again, I've got a little lonely piece by himself, so I'm just going to set him right there in the next row. So remember I said I want to try to lay out 6 rows. I think I can fit 6 rows on here. Alright, there's that one. And there. Move that one down so I have room. Oh, they're equals, so I'm just going to pick one. Oh, you know what? This one's going towards the black, so I'll pick there. Oh, that's right. I'm going to have one extra. Okay, so there. That's going to go towards the black because in this row my seams need to point towards the right. And I've got that. And come on. Separate. There you go. There. Hey, I'm starting to run out of pieces. I like running out of pieces. Running out of pieces is great. So I should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And this is another reason why I always check my pieces, because I like to flip them different ways by accident. And my seams are pointing to the right, so I'm taking the right piece, flipping it over the left, and pinning it. So I used to do one row at a time and sew it, just do pieces and then sew them. I have found if I lay out multiple rows at the same time, it's more efficient and saves me money. But then saves me money. It saves me time, not money. So it's more efficient to just lay them all out and then work. Oops, come on. And row number 4. Alright, so now we will finish all the blues in this row. So there's going to be no more blue after this. So this is the very top of his, of the blue and black. Okay, so I've got, oh, it doesn't make a difference. Let's go there, towards the yellow. So it's going to go towards the blue. Now the last one's going to go towards the black, so I need to save one of these towards the blacks for the very end. Alright. And then there's that. I'm going to move the black down so I can grab it better. Come on. Black. Sometimes my nails just don't want to pick up pieces. So in this case I did the seam towards the white, and then this one the seam's going to go towards the black. Just making sure that I saved the right piece that I wanted to save. So black there. The last blue. Because this is why I saved it, because I only have a single yellow and black 2-inch left, and it's got to go just right there. Great. So towards the left. And like I said, that is how you lay out the pieces after you cut them. So TwitchCon is in Long Beach this year. So I'm looking at all my options before they decide that yes, you are confirmed, here's where you are, here's what you're doing. I will, if I go, if Twitch lets me go, I will be in the Artist Alley with my patterns, kits, and quilts. I'm probably not bringing dice bags or pillows. Although, if I do bring one of them, I'll bring some dice bags. Just to have something else. May or may not share space with someone. Haven't quite decided yet. But I was looking at Long Beach. Long Beach is really cool. I was thinking if I've ever been to Long Beach. I've been to San Diego. Maybe I don't know. I don't think I've actually ever been to Long Beach. So maybe my first time. So then I've got to make a decision of, okay, well, do I want to stay in a hotel? Do I want to stay at an Airbnb? Do I want to see if I have any friends in the area? You know, I've got to figure all that stuff out. And then I've got friends up in the Sacramento area because the TwitchCon is actually the week right before Fall Quilt Market, which is, Quilt Market is amazing. So if you've gone through my Facebook page, if you like me on Facebook, you may have seen all of my pictures from the Spring Quilt Market. Fall Quilt Market is like 3 times as big. It's huge. It's a gigantic fest of quilting. It is where all of the fabric manufacturers, notion manufacturers, pattern manufacturers, everyone basically goes in order to showcase what's new and to connect with quilt and sewing stores and quilt professionals. So I don't have a booth there. I just go and I attend in order to see, meet with all of my wholesalers and fabric manufacturers, meet with quilt stores, show them my new patterns, do all that lovely stuff. Okay, in this case, seams are going to the right. So I've got to remember I'm going to the right. So TwitchCon is the weekend before Quilt Market. And Quilt Market is huge for me. So Quilt Market's in Houston. Well, I live in London, Ontario. That's on the other side of North America. So I'm like, well, if I go, fantastic. Go do what you do best. Make some money. Thanks for popping in, Britmerk. I appreciate it. So if I'm going to do TwitchCon, I'm like, I'm already in California and I've got to be in Houston the following weekend. Why am I come all the way back to Ontario when I should just stay in California? So I was talking to my friends that live up in Sacramento and I'm like, hey, so I may just I know it's not right around the corner, but I'm thinking I may just take a flight up to you guys in Sacramento and hang out and spend some time with you and then head down to Houston. Because, I'm on that side of the North America anyways. And so I'm thinking about doing that. It'll be a nice vacation between 2 cons. A few days vacation. So all sorts of logistics, all sorts of things to consider. Everything that I'm doing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this is the last row that I'm laying out. And then I will start sewing, and you can see me sewing these together. Alright, so seams need to go towards the yellow. And then here. And then here. And then, of course, the week after Houston, after Quilt Market, I have the New York Toy Fair. Woo! Toy Fair! It's the first time I've done it. Or first time I'm going to do it. I figured, you know what? That's kind of cool because, I make video game and comic book quilts. Why not do the Toy Fair? So who knows if I'll do well or not, or you never know. I'm just double checking all of my pieces because I keep talking. Okay, everything's good. So I'm gonna have a busy 3 weeks is what I'm saying. So I'm thinking if Twitch will have me, and they want me at TwitchCon, I'm going to be there. And I'm going to do it. I will make it I will make it work. It will be a crazy whirlwind 3 weeks for me, but I am going to make it work. Oh, I just remembered I need to put up my stream schedule for the next few days. I need to get that done. Alright, so time to start assembling rows. Let's get some jelly beans in me. So, if you've done this method where you've laid everything out, you've pinned it, and you laid it up in a row, I'm going to show you the exact order to keep all the pieces in to make sure that it stays in the correct order so that you can just keep on going and you don't have to double check to make sure that the pieces are facing the right direction. So you just pick the whole thing up. And sew the pieces. Now I chain, so that means I've got something constantly in the machine at all times. So I'm going to pick up the next row. And then trim that, set that aside. We're going to keep sewing that next row. Alright, so now I need to separate them. Now I need to make sure that this last piece that I sewed in there, which was the last piece on the bottom, is going to be the first one on, it's going to be the last piece. I'm putting them in the same order. So I'm using my cutting gizmo to separate all of my chaining. So I'm going to start from the back. And then I'm going to take the pins out. So all I'm doing is I'm taking the pins out and setting this aside. So this is the piece that was the last one that I sewed. So it's going to be on the bottom of my new pile. And I'm efficient, so I'm going to do all my sewing at the same time. So I'm just going to set that aside for now and grab the next one. Man, summer and fall are hectic on my allergies. Especially because we don't have air conditioning in our house, so our windows have to be open. I took an allergy pill this morning, but maybe I need another one. Alright, let's do... So I'm starting from the back because I'm using my cutting gizmo. I love the cutting gizmo. And then taking the pins out, and that last piece I sewed is now on the bottom of this new tile. So they're actually in the same exact order that they were in before I sewed them. So today's stream, I should get through all of Michael. I am definitely going to stream until I finish this entire thing for Michael. Depending upon the time and how tired I am, I may then continue on to Freddy. So the Freddy's the next block I'm going to make. Nope, this way. There we go. Normally I finish sewing before I take the pins out and separate those, so I have room, and I apparently forgot to finish. There we go. Now I can take the pins out and lay them down. Oh, let me check my Gen Con. I know I sold out one of my classes at Gen Con. I'm sold out 2 classes now. Yeah, I sold out another class last night. So if you're going to Gen Con and you're seeing this before Gen Con happens, my Sunday 10 a.m. Catan paper piecing class for the miniature Catan board for quilting only has 2 spots left in it. So if you were thinking about taking the Sunday morning class, make sure you sign up soon, because I am sure before I get to Gen Con on Tuesday for my setup, it's going to be gone. Now, the ones that I have, the 2 classes that I am sure I have no way that they're going to sell out, and I'm definitely going to have space because of the time, is my Learn How to Paper Piece class that is Thursday morning at 10 a.m. because, you know, people want their exclusives from the companies. So I'm sure I'm not going to have a lot of people in that class. And then my Friday evening at 5 o'clock, which is the other paper piece of Catan board. So the miniature Catan quilt. So if you wanted to go to one of those 2, you don't have to do that right away. You could probably even show up with general tickets and get a spot, just because of the time. But I wanted to make sure that I offered a bunch of different classes for people. Okay, so next, we are doing some ironing now. So I have laid these out, I have sewn them, I have separated them and taken the pins out. So now let's iron it. So remember, this is the same exact stack that I pinned it, so it's the same order I pinned it in. I made sure after I sewed it and took the pins out, it's in this order. So I'm going to lay these down right to left. So I'm just laying these pieces right to left, and I have 4 pieces. And then I'm going to iron them up. So because I've laid them out in a way, and I've pinned and sewn them in a way to where all of my seams, if I iron these just straight up, the seams are pointing in the correct direction. Alright? And then I'm going to start from the left and do the opposite, because I laid them down right to left. Now I'm going to pick them up left to right. And just pick these pieces up left to right. And then I'm looking at my directions. I say, oh, my seams point to the right for this row, so I'm going to make sure my seams point to the right and lay them down. Now I'm going to take this. Now I have 5 pieces now. And I have a single little piece right here that hasn't been sewn to anything. I don't, if I start pinning, that little piece is going to be left out. You can't have pieces left out. You don't want people to feel left out. Pieces should not feel left out. So, I'm going to take this first piece and I'm going to set that aside. Because this little piece is shorter than that first piece. So now I'm going to take these, and all I did was I shifted this so that I'm going to take from the left-hand side. So from now on, I'm taking from the left. So I'm taking it from the left, moving this piece down and flipping it over and pinning it in place. Taking this from the left, flipping it over and pinning it in place. And that is a faster, more efficient way to do your piecing. And I'm actually going to go ahead and sew it right now to free those up. It's a faster, more efficient way to do your piecing without having to actually lay all those pieces back out again. So for the first few years of my quilting career, when I was first learning how to quilt, I would actually lay every single one of those pieces out just to make sure that they were all done correctly. And you can still do that. If you're not comfortable, if you're like, ooh, I'm thinking, you know what, that looks good and it looks cool and I'm so glad that you're efficient and you can save that time, but I don't trust myself. That's okay. I didn't do it for the first 2 years. That's perfectly okay. But if you're someone that's like, oh, I got this. Oh, there's no way I'm going to mess that up. I'm going to follow that to a T. Yep, you know what? Try it. Because it's a way that you can move a little faster. And I did the same thing for this one. I laid them out right to left. And then I'm going to pick them up left to right. So this piece that's on top is now my first piece. The second row, my seams are pointing to the left. Oh, I forgot to count them. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. I have 1 on the board. So right there I have 6. I don't have to leave any pieces out. They're all going to be included. So I'm taking the piece on top, flipping it over, and pinning it in place. Taking the piece, flipping it over. Now in this case, I have this piece. I have 2 that have been sewn together where the seam is pointing up. This case, I have 2 sewn together where the seam is pointing down. So when I flip this over, I'm going to make sure that I nest those seams. Those seams need to perfectly lock in there. Once those seams are locked in there and they're nested, I'm putting a pin in there just to make sure that doesn't move. And that is why I have the bad habit of sewing over my pins. Because I have the horrible habit of whenever I pull that pin out as I'm sewing, it shifts it. And it's no longer perfectly locked in place. So that's one of those do as I say, not as I do's. Don't sew over your pins unless you really, really need to, because if you hit those pins with your sewing machine, you can break your sewing machine. You can do damage to your sewing machine. Which is why my sewing machine repairman loves me. He loves me. Because I'm always bringing him stuff. In fact, I call him up. I'm like, Fred, I'm going to bring a machine in. Here's what I did with it. Whenever I, not this past quilting, but the quilting stream beforehand, I hit one of my safety pins. And I broke my bobbin case. So, yeah. I called him up. I'm like, hey, Fred. Yeah. You know what I did? He laughs and says, what'd you do now, Tony? Let me tell you what I did. And I told him. And then whenever I picked up the machine, I said, how bad was it? He goes, you know what? Wasn't the worst I've seen. Oh, really? Yeah, no, that actually wasn't that bad. But, you know, everything's fixed. All right, this one seems go to the right. Oh, and I think I had 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, let's take a look and see which piece is bigger. That first piece. So I'm going to leave that first piece out. Now let's include that little lone piece. Because, yeah, we don't want pieces to feel left out. We include them. Go. I love it when I get good ideas. Okay, so I can't be specific with the people because this is for a surprise gift. I need to make a king size Nightmare Before Christmas quilt. And I have been racking my brain trying to figure out how I can do a king size Nightmare Before Christmas quilt. Because I've got some really cool panels of Nightmare Before Christmas. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, there's nothing on the board. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one's going to the left. So, you know what? And the first and the last piece are the same exact size. So I'm going to be consistent with everything else and take the first piece off. So I've been sitting here trying to figure out how I can do a good Nightmare Before Christmas quilt. And I keep thinking, you know what? Maybe I should just do a panel quilt where I look through, you know, I basically just take the panels and I put them, I have 2 different ones, just put them, you know, catty corner, and then add a whole bunch of different cool fabrics and designs and things like that. And I'm like, you know what, that's nice, but it's almost kind of boring. But I'm sitting here thinking, going, this quilt is giving me an idea. Why don't I do a Nightmare Before Christmas quilt where it's like the Brady Bunch, like this, where it's like the squares, the 4 square? But then what would I do? So I can do Jack in one, I could do Sally in one, I can do Zero in one. But then what do I do for the 4th square? Do I repeat Jack twice with the same thing or 2 different things? Or do I add something else? So this is normally what happens. Normally, whenever I'm sewing, I get ideas for future things. And he's been bothering me for a design. It's actually a friend of mine. And sometimes when my friends commission me, I feel really bad because I put them off before, and I do other people before them. So I feel really bad sometimes about that. So, and he asked me the other day about it. And I'm like, crap. 3, 4, 5, 6. Fantastic. And this goes to the right. And I felt really bad, and I'm like, I really need to get him a design and a price. Really need to do it. So I've been thinking a lot in the past couple of days about what I can do. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to give him 2 different ideas. I'll say, look, I can do a pixel quilt, and this is the general idea of the Jack and Sally and Zero and. Or do I want something else in that 4th square? Jack, Sally, Zero. Is there anything else in Night Before Christmas that... No, I could do 2 Jacks. I'll do Jack, Jack, Sally, Zero. If I do a pixel quilt. And then... If I do the panel... Obviously the panel quilt one's going to be much cheaper. Even though it's a king, and I hate... You know what? I think that's why I keep putting... Not because he's my friend. I think I keep putting it off because I hate king-size quilts. Oops. I didn't realize there were 2 there. I really, really, really hate doing king-size quilts because running a king-size quilt through a regular home machine for quilting is a huge pain in the butt. Alright, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Everything gets included. So, I think that's why I've been pushing it off. Or I even could do a Jack in one block, a Sally in another block, and then a heart in the other 2 blocks. Or 0 and a heart. I don't know. I'll let him decide. So first I'll give him pricing, I think, of the pixelated quilt, of the 4 square. Now, this one right here is a double-sized quilt. So I would have more space to work with for the pixels in the spaces. And I would add probably more borders. I would do more framework, more borders around it. Because I've got a whole bunch of Nightmare Before Christmas fabric that I can use for my borders. So unlike this one where I have solid fabrics that I would be using. Yeah, I use Nightmare Before Christmas fabrics. See, now I got my juices flowing. And this is, I think because I haven't been motivated for this quilt. That's why I haven't been thinking of ideas. See, and there is something about the sewing machine running, the sound of the running sewing machine, that gets my ideas going. Alright, I think I separated that in the wrong direction. Nope, that's right. I don't know why I confuse myself sometimes. See, and then we have to think of patterns. So with our pattern line, we like to come up with a new pattern every 2 months. And we already know what's going to come out in October. So, because this is August, so we released the God of Mischief pattern. In October, we're going to release the Triforce pattern. So that means the next one needs to be released in December. So we've been trying to alternate them with video game and pop culture / comic book. Video game, pop culture / comic book. That way the pattern line appeals to more people and not just video gamers. Although, Twitch, I mean, obviously I lean more towards the video game stuff. So the biggest problem that we're having for the December is what to do. Because, yes, confusing myself again. I'd like to do a pop culture comic book one because the Triforce is being released in October. But it's like, what do you do? I really wanted some kind of Harry Potter, like something inspired by Harry Potter. But you have to try to think of something that's copyright neutral, that has the, and you have to design something that has the, that's inspired by, but it's not taken directly from. Okay, so this is to the right. So I don't know. Okay, so for 3 pieces. So in this case, I'm picking the piece from the left up, flipping it over the right, pinning it in place, and then you pick up the piece that's underneath and flip it over the other way. So because there's 3 pieces, I'm actually pinning it and sewing it all at the same time. Craziness. Craziness. And I forgot to point out, when you're picking these up, you lay them down again right to left. If these seams point down, that means they are the correct way that you want to iron them, and you can just iron it. And then say it left to right. Okay, in this case, seams go to the left. I'm just double checking, making sure everything is right. Yep, it is good. And again, 3 pieces, so I'm picking the left up over the right up over the left. Now, in this case, these seams are pointing up. So before I start laying them out, I actually have to flip them over. So I'm going to flip it over, and then iron it. Alright, and this one is to the right, and this goes on top. Oh, and that needs to go together. So these 2 rows are going to get pinned together. So now that I'm finishing up and doing the last little bit of the rows, you can lay them out that way. Okay, these are pointing down. Uh-oh. This one's going to need another pass. I'm going to have 4 pieces for this one. One, 2, 3, 4. So it is not completely done. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's to the left. That goes on top. So with this one, I'm just going to go ahead and sew this one now and free the one that's on the machine. See, I was thinking about the Hogwarts shield too. But then the Hogwarts shield is actually a logo. So that is copyrighted. So I can't take the shield itself. It's not general, it's not generalized enough. So I can't do anything with the houses. I was thinking about just doing something that was like Harry Potter, like do a pixelated Harry Potter with the lightning bolt, and just call him a wizard. But I don't. That only appeals to people that are Gryffindor or really like Harry Potter. You know what I mean? I wanted something that would appeal to everyone. So then I was thinking, well, maybe just like a witch's hat. But then that's not really Harry Potter. And see the dilemma that we're running into about, because everyone keeps saying, "Hey, do a Harry Potter, do a Harry Potter." Oh, that goes at the top. I'm like, why is this messed up? Well, because I didn't do this one yet. So things that we have to think about is we have to be very, very careful and don't break any copyright or trademark laws. Because I am a small-time person and I cannot afford to pay copyrights, the copyright or trademark fees. So it has to be an artistic interpretation and not break any of those laws. Oh, with Quidditch. So with Quidditch, it's the golden snitch and a broom. That may work. Just do a broom. So do something with a broom and then with a snitch. But then we'd have to call it. So we couldn't call it Quidditch. That's a good idea. Thanks, Wolf. Yeah. That may work. Oh, yeah, that one goes there. And then, oops, and this is the last one. That one goes to the left. Yeah, I'll see if I can think of something with that. Maybe with, 2 brooms, and then with the, like this, and then with the snitch at the top or the snitch at the bottom. What about... I can't believe you've never seen or read the books. They're good. You've ever seen the movies or read the books? So, how about this? How about... Oops, already did that. Maybe something like that. Yeah, okay. I cannot draw. I am not an artist. I suck. So I'm thinking me... Oh, you can't even see it. Yeah, because okay, so I'm thinking... The broom... So the handle, the broom, the handle, the broom, and then the snitch at the top in the center. That may work. Symbolizing 2 teams, 2 brooms competing against each other, and just leave all colors, house colors off, just do brooms. I think we have an idea. Thanks, Two Wolf! I think that may work. That is generalized enough. That may work. Alright, I'm going to talk to Nicole. So my business partner, Nicole, if you've seen me at any conventions, most of the time I do them with another person. If I do TwitchCon, Nicole's not going to do it with me. Because it is, or maybe she might. Maybe I should ask her if she wants to do it with me. But she doesn't stream. So maybe she won't. I don't know. Basically, she makes little craftigurumi, is what her name of her thing. So she's little amigurumi dolls, crocheted dolls, and characters. And so she is a trained artist. She has an art degree. So she does all of my pixels for me. So whenever you commission something from me, or if you're looking at the designs, Nicole's done all of it. She does all of the graphic design work for our patterns. She does all the layouts. She does everything. All I do is I take the picture and I turn it into a pattern, and then I make it and make sure all the math is right. So I am the business math person. She is the artistic design person. It's a good partnership. Works out really well. So I'll talk to her about that. So we're talking this morning about ideas for the next one. And she said she really thinks we should do a Harry Potter, but she's really stumped on the copyright stuff. And she wanted to know if I had any ideas. But I think that could work. I'll talk to her and see what she says. Okay, I got a story. So I started streaming in February, okay? So that's whenever I actually set this up. I got my furniture, I did my redesign, I started streaming in February. What was the first convention I had after that? C2E2, in March. She, let's see, this is 1, 2, 3... Seams go to the left, I believe. Yeah, seams go to the left. So in March, we were at C2E2. See, yeah. So we're at C2E2, and I made little flyers that said, "Watch me on Twitch." You know, because I've got to promote myself, and I've got to show people that I meet at conventions, say, "Hey, I stream. Come watch me. This is what I do." When I'm home in my studio sewing, I live stream it all the time. Okay? So I'm chatting with people. I'm doing that. And I'm telling Nicole, I'm like, you really should stream. It's a lot of fun. It's great. I actually work a little faster, even though you see me stopping to talk and take breaks all the time. I'm actually working faster than I would if I don't stream. It's a lot of fun. It's great. And she looked at me and said, no one's going to want to watch me crochet. And I'm like, are you kidding me? There's people that cross-stitch on there. There's tons of people that do all sorts of things on there. People would love to watch you crochet, especially if it's something that they've always wanted to do and they just can't do it, or people that crochet want to see how you do it. Trust me, people want to watch. And she goes, no. So we do, and this is C2E2, okay? After C2E2, the next convention we did together was AwesomeCon. We did AwesomeCon, and the next weekend was Too Many Games. At the beginning of AwesomeCon, I told her the same thing. I said, you really should stream. Now, C2E2, that was our 3rd year doing it. AwesomeCon, this was our 6th year doing it. Too Many Games, this was our 5th year doing it. So we have a fan base at both conventions. So we have fans of ours that have been coming to us and buying stuff from us and doing this stuff for years at these 2 conventions. So I tell her again, you should stream. You know, I really think whenever I'm in Maryland, I should bring my stuff over and we should do a dual stream where people see you doing your thing and I'm doing my thing. And she goes, people don't want to watch me. I'm like, all right, whatever. So AwesomeCon starts. I counted 5 times at AwesomeCon and 8 times at Too Many Games. People would come up to our table and they would look at the flyers and they'd look at me and they'd go, oh, you're on Twitch, you're streaming, this is great, I want to see what you're doing. And they turn to her and they go, are you on Twitch as well? And she goes, all I do is crochet. You don't want to watch me do that? Yes, I would love to watch you crochet. And they'd walk away and I'd turn to her and go, told you. Yeah, every time. It was so funny. Okay, so in this case, now, I'm only looking at the 2 rows that I have made. And I'm going to line these babies up. In this case, the seams need to go to the right. This case, the seams need to go to the left. Now, let's line this up. Oh, that lines up nicely. That's exactly the way it's supposed to be. So I'm going to flip the bottom up over the top. I'm going to find where my seams nest. And let's put a pin in there, just to make sure they're in there. Okay. A, I have tons of transgender friends, whatever. B, you're going to get trolls. Okay, so there's a reason why my filter is super, super G. Super G. There is no swearing, there is nothing, because I teach a lot of kids classes, and I want to encourage the kids to come and watch me stream on Twitch. And then I warn the parents that there may be a lot of swearing. There's no nudity. There's maybe a lot of swearing in other streams. Maybe some drug talk, things like that, especially if they live in Denver. And I get so many trolls still. I actually, it's interesting because I'm 41, okay? I'm an old woman. They still come in and they're like, hey, can you go give me a private show? Hey, can you show me this? Hey, what about this? Or they start talking all this stuff, and I'm just like, I'm a 41-year-old woman that quilts, and my chat rules say no swearing and G, and really? Yeah. No, you're gonna get trolls. No matter what you do or how you do it, you just ignore them. So, and that's the biggest thing, is you just gotta learn to get thick skin and ignore them. And yeah, I think I've only banned 4 people? 4. I've only had 4 bad trolls where I banned them. And the nice thing, whenever you ban someone from your channel, it deletes completely everything that they have said in your channel. But no, I'm friends with Alexa Hart, the cosplayer, and she tells me about the trolls because she's transgender, and she's actually stopped cosplaying because of a lot of the stuff. I don't know if she'll pick it back up again or not, but she is the most vocal trans cosplayer. She puts herself out there, and she actually did a panel at New York Comic Con about being a trans cosplayer, about things that she does and things that she goes through, and makeup and things like that. So she tells me all of the things that she goes through and that she does, and yeah, it's amazing, some of the trolls and things people do. Okay, so at this point, I've got 2 rows pinned together. I'm assembling all my rows together, and I need to set this aside for when I'm ready to sew all the rows. So this is what I do. I use a clothing rack. Whoops, there goes my microphone. If that made a big sound, sorry. I tripped over and I knocked my microphone off. Stay, microphone. Okay. Clothing rack. All I do is set up my lovely clothing rack. There. Come here. Get in there. There and there. There we go. And for room, I do not pop these parts out. I just leave them in because, you know what? It doesn't make a difference. Oh. Can you tell I didn't set all this up ahead of time to make room for clothing rack? There we go. So I'm going to take this, my double thing, and I'm just going to set it right there because this is my first one I've pinned together, so I'm going to stick out right there and get that ready to go. Oh, 2 years older's not. Whatever. I tease my husband because he looks like he's a lot older than I am. And he's younger. No, it's Doug, who pops in here a lot. It's going to be 50 in a few months. But that's my point, is that it doesn't make a difference how old you are. You're going to get trolls. It doesn't make a difference what you do or how you do it. Everyone on Twitch is going to get a troll. It's just a matter of getting on it right away and getting rid of them. Because for me, especially because I want the kids that I teach to come and be able to watch me anytime they want. And I upload all of my videos to YouTube. So it's there permanently for posterity. So yeah. It is super important that you get on that right away and just get rid of them. There's no point in putting up with that. Alright, now this one, let me move it up. Now I'm doing the next 2 rows. There we go. And again, I'm making sure that all of my seams are pointing down. And ironing them up. Oops, come on. There we go. To make sure, oops, that seam right there didn't iron nicely. There we are. Let's make sure our seams are nice. Okay, so this one, seams need to go to the left. I don't like how close this is. I'm going to move this over some. I like to have room to move my elbows. There we go, that's better. Okay, so that seams to the left. And this one seams go to the right. There we go. Now, whenever you're pinning 2 rows together, you want to find where that first nesting of the seams is. So in this case, it's this one right here. So I'm going to nest those seams, pin that. Oops, I missed one. Nest those seams and pin it. And then you're going to find where you have a seam, like here. I've got a seam underneath, but not on top. So I'm going to put a pin there and there. And the reason why you want to do that is as you're running the fabric through the machine, you want to make sure that those seams are down so that you can secure them into place so they don't flip up. There we are. So after yesterday's stream, I asked Jordan if she wanted to come down and help me make this quilt today. And she goes, I'm okay. And I'm like, you're asking me for that pattern, and you said that you want to make it, but you really need to start learning how I make these quilts and what I do, or else you're not going to be able to figure out how to make it. And she kind of looked at me and smiled. And I'm thinking to myself, I know what's going through her mind. She's going to say, can I get that quilt and we can make it together? Because that's what we did. If you look at one of the first couple of streams that I did, I made the cherry wood pencil case roll, which was really cool. And I made it for her art stuff. And we did that together, and that was fun. Okay, so now I need to free these last two to pin them together. I have nothing else on here. I am going to work ahead and sew this. And sew my first strip that I pinned. It's all a matter. Now, I could put a scrap piece of fabric in there, but if you can work on your stuff and have it constantly go, then do that. So, Wolf, would you, two Wolf designs, would you stream your t-shirt making, or would you stream video gaming? Alright, and then now I've done those, I'm pinning together these two. This one needs to go to the left. Oh, that'd be cool, the coding and stuff. Logo design, yeah, that'd be neat. And this is to the right. Perfect. It was funny. I was at Staples a few weeks ago, right before I went to the 4-camera system, and I bought the camera that I'm pointing at right now from there because I was looking at all the different ones, and I was talking to someone about that, about the different cameras, and it was the same price here in Canada as it is on Amazon and online. So I'm like, I might as well just go to Staples and get it. That way I can see it and talk to someone. And I was talking to the person there about streaming, about the camera that I need and this and that, and I was telling him I stream creative, and I was going to a 4-camera setup, and he said, you know what, I stream when I play my video games, but I'm finding I'm not getting a lot of followers, I'm not getting a lot of people watching this and that. And I said, well, how many cameras do you have? He goes, none. What do you mean none? He goes, well, I only show the screen capture of what I'm playing and what I'm doing. I'm like, they've got to see you. And he's like, well, why? I said, you need to have a camera on you. It doesn't matter what you look like. I mean, there are some ugly streamers. It doesn't matter. Honestly, it's about what you do, not what you look like. But you've got to have a camera on you because I'm having a conversation with you right now. I'm looking at you, having a conversation with you. So if you're talking to people or talking about what you're doing, having the camera and actually looking is important. Honey, you're not getting another one from me. I know, you just woke up from your nap and I'm still here talking to myself. You're very cute. I love you very much. He's sitting right next to my foot pedal and looking at me, going, but Mommy, I love you. Oh, yeah. Yep. The type, yeah. All right, so that one goes here. Now, let's lay out the last 5 rows. Is it 3:30 already? Oh, it's 3:30 already. All right, so let's do this one. I'm at least finishing this one because I said I would. Okay, towards the black. So I'm thinking tomorrow's stream, I'm just going to stream for 2 hours. I'm not going to do the 3 like I normally do. I'm just going to stream 2 hours, just 1 to 3. I will do the step-by-step tutorial of how to rotary cut and all that stuff. And then get started on the next square. There, I need to go towards the brown. And then there. And this is all towards the right. So then Sunday, I'll do an actual stream. I'm thinking another 1 to 4 stream. Yeah, see, and it's exactly. And even though he was doing it with video gaming, but you're right, creative really is interactive to where you really do need multiple cameras. I have got one, I think they're all DSLRs. Yeah, they're all DSLRs that I have. Even the one on the cat. Oh, did she knock it over again? She shifted it. I just realized it. She runs into the camera and she shifts it over. Alright, I'm going to spread all these out so I can grab them better. Let me toss that. I don't need the blue anymore. This is going to go towards the black. That's towards white. I need to go towards the black. White and brown. Solid white. White and brown. Towards the white. Yep, this way. Brown. And then yellow. And this way is going to the left. I don't know what these are. I did a bunch of research and I printed out some pictures and I went to Staples. And I picked them up. The biggest thing for me moving to the 4-camera system is that. So that camera used to be mounted over on the right, and then so it actually used to be right here, and then this way. But the problem with that was that the perspective, there we go, the perspective was off, and it was really weird, and it would warp everything that I was doing. So chatting with people, they were like, we really need to have a bird's eye view of what you're doing on the cutting table so we can see it better. Because you really couldn't see it over on the right. So that was the hardest part, was finding mounts and trying to get everything mounted. So this one right here is the only one that's permanently mounted. There, brown, and that's towards the black, so we need to go towards the black, towards the white, towards the black. Oh, I gotta re-iron this one. Okay, so now I'm towards the end, and this is what happens sometimes, is that I need to put this piece right here, but the seam needs to go down towards the black. So I'm gonna re-iron it. And that is perfectly fine. If you want to re-iron your seam to go the opposite direction, do it. Because it's not going to work out all the time. Yay, I'm running out of all sorts of things. This is fantastic. Okay, to the right. You know what? You're right. They are Logitech. Yeah, that one doesn't have anything on it. Yep, they're Logitechs. Oh, that's cool. See, I don't do anything with photography stuff. I am not an artsy person. Like I was saying with Nicole, I have a master's of business degree. So I am a business, logical math person, which is why quilting is amazing for me. It is all about math. Quilting is all math, basically. And so I am the business person that way. Oh, wait, hold on. I forgot a piece. Yeah, okay, I forgot a piece. That was weird. I am the business person figuring all that stuff out. And then Nicole is our artist design person. She makes it look good. I do math. And then these, 1, 2, and then yellow, and then there. So that way, to the left. See, this is great. I've got 2 ideas for quilts now. In fact, I'm going to write that down for the, so that is the Harry Potter. The Nightmare Before Christmas is Jack, Sally, Jack, 0. Okay. I just realized I forgot to write that down. I'm going to make sure I do that. Yeah, that's what you were saying, and that you and that you're working, and then in the Boston area, right? And then you work at all that stuff. That's really cool. See, I try to remember what people tell me. I have the worst memory in the world for names. Like, seriously, like, I'm the worst for names. But I'm good with stories and when people tell me when things happen or situations or stuff like that. I'm good with that stuff. I try to, that's the stuff that I tend to remember. That's why I like to have story time. I like it when people share stories with me. It's fun. All right, let's sew these babies. Oop. I sewed over a pin. Luckily, I was going slow enough. It did not break my needle and it did not hurt my machine. Yeah, and that's awesome. And that's, again, I have a master's of business degree. I have more in school debt than I bring in that I make in a year. I'm very lucky that I have a husband that supports and understands me. And whenever I decided to go full-time a few years ago, I went to him with a business plan. And I said, I want to quit my job, and this is why, and here's my business plan. And he didn't even read it. I was so mad at him he didn't read it. He looks at me and says, do you believe in what you're doing? Of course I do. He goes, do you believe that you will make it successful? And I said, of course I do. But if you look at the business plan, I'm not going to be profitable until year 4. And he goes, stop. Can we afford it? And I went, yes, but it's going to be tight if you look at the business plan. Stop. If you believe in it, and if we're not going to lose our house, then do it. And I'm like, but I did all this work on this business plan. I want to show it to you. And it took me hours and days. And he goes, no, I believe in you. And I got so mad at him. But you know what? That business plan was a lifesaver because this is year 4 now. Year 2, I had a large theft where someone broke into my trailer and stole all of my quilts, all of my pillows, everything. And I had no insurance. They never found it. So it was pretty devastating for me. I was very devastated. And I almost threw in the towel. I almost said, I'm done. I quit. I can't do this anymore because I was so devastated. And he came to me and he said, look at your business plan. If you keep going, how much money would you need to get back on track in order to do this again? And I looked at the business plan and I went through everything and I said, you know what? I have enough materials downstairs. I don't need anything. I can do this. And I did. And then year 3, last year, I think I had a $150 profit. I was ecstatic. Ecstatic! I made $150. Because in my original business plan, I wasn't going to be actually profitable, meaning a plus instead of a negative, until year 5. So I'm ahead of schedule. So, yep. Doing what you love. As you can tell, I am a huge proponent for doing what you love. Do what makes you happy. If coding and design and t-shirts are what make you happy, do it. I really need to pop into Fierce Kitten streams and watch her. I have not been able to watch her yet. I saw that she was streaming last night, but of course I was at my husband's ball. So I've got to look at her page and her schedule. Three, four, five. Okay, so there's 5 pieces. So remember, when we have 5 pieces, we have to decide 1, 2, 3, 4. This piece is bigger than that piece. So I'm going to take that first piece instead of decide. Let's not abandon any pieces. Have them all be included. One, 2, 3, 4. Yep, that's going to be the same thing. So I'm going to do the same thing and leave out that first piece. And this is to the left. Now, I tell my husband all the time that I've lucked out. I have a great family. I love what I do. I'm very, very happy. There are a lot of people in this world that don't have either one. Two, three, four, five, 6. Okay, this is going to go to the right. One, 2, and 3. And I am out of pins on this one, so I'm going to switch it out with the one here. One, 2, 3. Oh yeah, so stream schedule. So I'm going to stream tomorrow afternoon and Sunday afternoon. I am not going to stream on Monday because, let's see, this one goes to the left. Because on Monday, I have a lot to do to get ready for Gen Con and Dragon Con. So I've got border paperwork because this is a business. When I go across the border, I have to go through the commercial lanes and I have to declare everything and file all sorts of paperwork. So I've got to get that paperwork done. I haven't even packed yet. I got to pack. I've got to make sure everything I want to wear is together and ready. I've got to make sure that my books are done. I mean, there's so much that I need to do. It is ridiculous. So I'm not streaming on Monday. And then Tuesday, I'm driving all day. I'm driving to Indianapolis. Wednesday is setup day for Gen Con. So I will be streaming that day. I'm going to stream our setup. So, yeah, business side of things to do, exactly, for Monday. So Wednesday, normally we normally start setting up in the morning and then we stop for lunch and then finish it. But I'm thinking what we may do is go stand in line and get all of our tickets for all of our events first. Get all that done. unload everything, get it all ready to go. Go stand in line, get all the tickets, and that could take a few hours. Eat some lunch, and then come back and do the stream and do the setup. I'm thinking if we do it that way, it'll be better. We can get get it all done. So if you wanted to see how, hi, you're very cute. If you wanted to see how my stuff is set up for conventions, that's the stream you want to watch. Hi. All right, come here. Oh, upsy daisy. You're spoiled. I know. You're very spoiled. I'm going to have to clean all the hair off of me again. Is this what you wanted? You wanted some cuddles. Well, when I finish streaming, when I finish this part of the quilt and I finish streaming, I'll go upstairs and we'll cuddle. Would you like that? Would you like to cuddle? I know. Yes, you're a good boy, aren't you? This is his favorite thing whenever you rub his chest. He'll just lay in your arms and fall asleep. Thank you very much, Wolf, for popping in. I appreciate it. I appreciate you joining and chatting with me. You gave me some fantastic ideas for quilts. So I super appreciate it. Thank you. All right, I gotta go finish this quilt. Can you get down? Thank you for the kiss. Oh, all right, get down. All right, now let me clean all the hair off before I keep working on the horror villains quilt. There we go. See, this has been a super productive stream. I've gotten... That's it. I've gotten ideas for things. I'm working on a commission. Okay, to the right, and this goes on top. Yep, that's right. Have a fantastic day, and if you don't pop in over the weekend, have a great weekend. So tomorrow is going to be 1 to 3, Sunday is going to be 1 to 4, just like today's stream for Eastern Standard Time. I love Get Back to Work. I love those. Okay, so next time I so have to start getting some good emojis. Here we are. This one's to the left, and that goes on top. There we go. I love that so. So the emojis that I am having worked on, that Allie is working on for me, she's doing a happy sewing machine. She's doing some kind of needle and some kind of bobbin. So either a mocking or an angry needle, and then the other one's going to be the bobbin. So a mocking or an angry bobbin. And then that way, if one day, if I'm a partner, we can expand those line of emojis into all sorts of things. So like all sorts of like different sewing machines, all sorts of different needles, all sorts of different bobbins. I did that one, right? Yep. So I got the plan. I was just looking to make sure that there was only the 3 pieces for this. Okay, so this one, that's that one. So this one, it should be to the right. Yes. And then this one's to the right. I am almost done assembling rows. And then I get to have my favorite part. I get to assemble all the rows together. All right, now, remember as I'm working on the 2 rows that I am pinning together, I'm going to make sure I isolate those in my pattern. So, it is these 2 right here. In fact, I have no more pieces, so I'm going to move my pattern over closer to where I'm working. Okay, this one, the seams go to the right. This one, seams go to the left. There we go. Let's make sure. Yep, surprisingly, this is the way it's supposed to look. That looks weird, right? It is... This is the top of his eyes, and those are his eyebrows. Whoop, just like that. And of course, I haven't pointed it out before, but I like to roll my rows, my strips from the left as I finish them. That way it just gives me a better area to work with. There we go. And this then goes back over here. Well, I think Jordan's up and walking around because the dogs are barking because they're excited. Alright, now I've done those two, so I need to look at these two. There we go. That should be to the right. And this one should be to the left. Now, that one lonely little row that's on that sewing machine, you may go, Tony, what are you doing with that? You don't. That's the last row. You don't have to have. You don't have anything to sew that to. It's fine. You know what? That's going to count by itself. I don't have to sew it to anything. I'll wait and I'll pin it and I'll sew it at the next pass through. So I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the next pass through, I'll then have 3 rows. I'm looking for nested seams. There we go. There's one here. There's 2 seams that are nesting, so I'm going to put a pin there. And then go back through and put a pin in all those other single seams that have nothing to nest to. There you go, and there. So now, I still have to sew the other side of that, because that was a 3-piecer. I'm just gonna start sewing my rows. I gotta sew the rows anyways. I'm actually gonna wait on that one. And then the other side, I'll put in last. Now you may notice I'm sewing this differently than I sewed those rows at the beginning of the stream. When I had the 2 strips of fabric that I was sewing together, my hand wasn't over here at all. My hands were here. I didn't help the fabric through at all. Well, the reason why my hand is behind and I'm helping the fabric through is I am doing that horrible, horrible habit, do as I say, not as I do, of sewing over my pins. You don't want to sew over your pins. But I do. You can hurt your sewing machine. And again, that's why my sewing machine repairman loves me, because I'm constantly hitting them and hurting my machine. And yeah. So, whenever I sew, when I get close to that pin, I pull it just a little bit, just to help it over top that pin. Because I don't want it to get stuck on that pin. So I'm going to help it a little. So I don't actually pull, I don't actually do anything until it reaches that pin. Set that aside and sew this one before I take pins out of that one. After I finish sewing these rows, this is my favorite part of a quilt, is assembling all the rows. Because up until now, it's been very hard to see what the pattern is going to be. You kind of get a hint of it whenever you see the rows initially getting put together. But now is when you can really start to see the pattern. So now is whenever you're like, oh, that's cool. That worked out well. Hey, look at that. I can actually see what I'm making. is also the time that I tend to figure out if I've messed something up. If I have flipped a piece, if I have really messed something up, yeah, this is the time that happens. Alright, so let's sew the other side. Oops. Okay, I must have dropped it on the floor. I thought I dropped a pin in my lap. And now to free that last piece, I'm going to use my scrap fabric. Because at this point, I want to iron and pin all of the pieces at the same time so I don't get distracted. Because I want to make sure I didn't make any mistakes. Which will happen sometimes with me. Alright, first. There we go. Now, I'm looking at what's laying here and what's on there, and that all looks good. Yep, that's good. So I'm going to flip the bottom up over the top. Let's find where those... Oh, there's not a lot of nested seams on this one. Right in the middle, this one. That's the first nested seam. So let's go back and pin all those single seams. And again, I'm looking for all those nested seams. That's the first thing that I do. Oops, there's one there. Now let's go back and pin the other ones. Maybe. Nope. I thought I dropped a pin, but I didn't. Okay, that one is good. Those are just threads that are coming through. Nice. Oh, I thought there was a pin there. go. There's 2. Now here is the moment of truth. Did I mess anything up? Because so far, it's been good. It's been good. Alright, and this one seems to go to the right. Nope, that looks good. Alright, I got through this without messing any of the pieces up. I did not flip anything. I didn't move anything. Fantastic. See, whenever I do quilts for the first time, it's the first time I'm making a design, I am very wary of messing something up. Because it happens a lot. There we go. 1, 2, 3. All right, now I'm going to sew all 3 of these and then put my scrap fabric back in again, just to make sure that I've got them in there. Because I want to pin, because I have 3 pieces, so I want to pin the pin them to each other. Here's 1, 2. 3. Scrap fabric. And take all the pins out. I'm just happy that I didn't make any mistakes. I didn't. Now, of course, I'm going to jinx myself. I have a bad habit of doing that. I have not needed to pull my seam ripper out for this panel, for this piece of it. Notice how I was very specific. Because I still have 3 more to go. Alright. This one is the middle. So I'm going to do that. Nope, this one's the bottom. Here's the top. And now for his face. Alright, let's put these pieces together. So I'm doing it just like I did when I had 3 pieces for my rose, as I'm taking the bottom and flipping it up, and then I'll take the top and flip it down. Now, you notice I'm not flipping it over and folding it because, oh, I'll shift it over, because I have got to still put that piece on. There we go. There you go. All right. Let's start sewing this together. I'm going to take a few celebratory jelly beans. Alright, I'm almost done. Scrap fabric in. Let's free it. Take the pins out. Iron it. And block 1 of 4 is done. Super excited. I'm excited that this part of it was created with no problems, no seam rippers, no issues. How often does that happen with me? Never happens. There we go. And Michael is finished. Woo. Let me go there so he's completely in the... Nice. So, bottom right, Michael is done. Yay! That makes me happy. So he's done. So next up is going to be Freddie. So bottom left, because I did him, so I'm going to work on Freddie next, tomorrow. I'm going to start out with how I tried to start out today before I realized I had no mic. I'm going to show you traditional rotary cutting methods, and then the rotary cutting using the stripology ruler with a stripology method. So I'm going to show you different kinds of rotary cutting, and I'll explain everything. And then I will make Freddie. So tomorrow's Freddie. So today was Michael, tomorrow's Freddie, and then Sunday, I may not finish Freddie tomorrow because I'm only streaming 2 hours, just 1 to 3. But then Sunday I'm doing 1 to 4 or until I'm done. I'm going to finish off Freddie, and then I don't know. I'll let you guys pick after I finish Freddie. If I'm going to do Leatherface or if I'm going to do Friday the 13th. What's his name? I can't remember it. Yeah, I can't remember it. Yeah, anyways. So I'll do either one of those two. So then, yeah, so that's Sunday. So so tomorrow, stream schedule. Tomorrow, 1 to 3. More horror quilt. Sunday, 1 to 4. More horror quilt. And then I've got a break from quilting because Monday is business. So I'm not going to be streaming. Tuesday, I'll be driving to Indianapolis. So Wednesday is going to be the setup stream for Gen Con. And then all sorts of IRLs. Jason, thank you. Thanks, Iron Bands Graham. I appreciate that. I'm like, I said his name earlier. I couldn't think of it. Jason, thank you. So then all sorts of IRLs from Gen Con. I cannot wait. I love Gen Con so much. And then after Gen Con, I will be in Maryland for a week. So I'll be doing a mailbox stream. I may do a pinning stream just to show you guys more pinning again. And if I can get it working, I'll be doing some video game streaming. Yay, because I'll have my new computer. And then streaming from Dragon Con. So yeah, so super excited. So I have a busy couple weeks. I'm working for the horror quilt the next couple of streams. Not going to get this one done before I leave, but I'll be working on it. So I know a couple of you just popped in towards the end, but I'm calling it a day. That's my stream for today. I finished a block, so I'm happy. That's what I wanted. So thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. I love it. Love you guys all. And and then next giveaway. When I reach 200 followers, I'm giving away one of my quilt kits. So not just a pattern like I gave away yesterday. I'm giving away a full kit. So fabric, pattern, already cut into your 2-inch and 3.5-inch strips. So yeah, more followers. Love you guys. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. And I will catch you guys tomorrow at 1 o'clock.